This program is brought to you by the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. This is NDDC Today.
Good evening. Nice of you to join us. Development, they say, is a process of improvement and changes required for better living in a society. And that is the key mandate given to the NDDC in the Niger Delta region. We are here every week to highlight the many efforts of the Commission in the task given the NDDC to improve the lot of the Niger Delta people. In today's program, the NDDC has a new Acting Executive Director of Finance and Administration, EDFA. Who is he? Also, the delay of the Niger Delta Development Commission budget in recent years has become a major concern to many stakeholders of the Niger Delta region, even amidst the probes by the National Assembly and the forensic audit of the Commission from its onset as ordered by President Buhari. We will take a look at the implication of the budget delay of the NDDC, its adverse effects on the delivery of programs and projects of the Commission, and other developments in the Commission. Stay with us. A new member has been sworn into the Interim Management Committee IMC of the NDDC to fill the void left by late EDFA of the Commission, Chief Ibanga Basi Etang, who passed away some weeks ago. May God rest his soul. The new EDFA is Mr. Effiong Akwa, a fellow of a Chartered Institute of Bankers who was sworn into office recently by the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio. We'll bring you a brief profile of the new EDFA of the NDDC, Effiong Akwa. Meet Effiong Akwa, the new Acting Executive Director of Finance and Administration of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. A fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, Mr. Akwa is also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria, CIBN. A seasoned administrator, Mr. Akwa had worked in various establishments before his recent appointment as the Acting Executive Director of Finance and Administration of NDDC. He was a one-time regional manager in charge of South-South Cooperative Development Bank. He was also a former managing director of Akwa Savings and Loans Limited. His recent appointment at the NDDC is like a homecoming of sorts, for Effiong Akwa had worked in the Commission as a special assistant on finance to the former managing director of NDDC, Sir Basi Dan Abia. Mr. Akwa hails from Okobo local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Effiong Akwa, Acting Executive Director of Finance and Administration, NDDC. Welcome back. We at NDDC Today wish the new acting EDFA a successful tenure in office. Niger Deltans are beginning to express their concern and worries about the delay in the passage of the NDDC budget over the years, with an appeal to both houses of the National Assembly to help the Commission deliver on its mandate. Our correspondent, Nddc Today, in this report examines the challenges of no budget for a commission like the NDDC. His report.
Obviously, the NDDC is not expected to carry out its core objective of developing the Niger Delta area effectively without recourse to its annual budget, which most times is approved several months into the year the budget was actually meant for. Delay in the passage of the NDDC budget could lead the management against the provisions of Section 80, subsection 4 of the Constitution, to resort to extra budgetary expenditure for the Commission to continue to meet its obligations to the people of the Niger Delta. In pursuant to Section 18, subsection 1 of the Niger Delta Development Commission Act, President Muhammadu Buhari in November 2019 transmitted the 2019 and 2020 spending appraisals of the NDDC to the Senate for consideration and passage. The NDDC 2019 budget of about 300 billion naira was not approved by the National Assembly until March 2020, with the hard copy sent to the Commission in April 2020. The implementation of the 2019 budget elapsed on May the 31st, 2020, making it impossible for the NDDC to advertise any project as required by law within 6 weeks at least. The consequence of this was that the Commission's 2019 budget elapsed without executing a single project with it.
I look at that delay as purely political because it's affecting all the stakeholders, the contractors, and the projects that ought to be done.
How can anybody with conscience, whether you are representing us at the National Assembly or you're representing us in NDDC, not pass the budget of NDDC for a whole year? A situation where the 2019 budget of NDDC will be allowed to elapse by May this year is wicked. It's unacceptable. Then the person is toying with the security of the region. The person is toying with the economy of our people.
NDDC that was created to practically respond to the developmental needs of the people of Niger Delta, at whose backyard is located the basin of wealth of this country. And we will be talking about politics in passing a budget, the only facility that is accessible to the people of Niger Delta. This is the only way, so-called, that the people of Niger Delta get any form of succor, even though it's not enough.
The implication of delay in the passage of any agency's budget has dire consequences, not to talk of an interventionist agency like the NDDC, whose activities are closely tied to the annual approved budgetary allocation to fast-track the transformation of the Niger Delta region to an economically viable one with developmental projects. The year 2020 is at its halfway mark, and the NDDC 2020 budget is yet to be passed by the National Assembly. The delay in the passage of the 2020 budget is negatively affecting the NDDC's mandate and quest to develop the oil-producing region, and also hampering the execution of critical and life-changing projects that are germane to the people of the Niger Delta. By not considering and passing the NDDC 2020 budget till now, there is no doubt that ongoing projects have been stalled and new ones cannot commence.
Let them hurriedly pass the budget, for Christ's sake. It's our right. We're not begging them. They're collecting money from the taxes we pay. They're collecting money from the oil taken in our backyard. Why shouldn't they pass the budget? Are we their slaves? I make bold to ask them in the National Assembly. Anybody sitting on it, are we their slaves? No, enough is enough. Let them pass the budget of NDDC.
We have done with first half of 2020 and the budget of a commission that is expected to do by now. NDDC should be executing and commissioning projects. Because there is no funds, budget is all about funds. Because there is no funds, such contracts that have been awarded in anticipation of the funds cannot continue, cannot even start. So it is a way of underdeveloping the Niger Delta.
The delay in the passage of the budget has impacted negatively on the Niger Delta students studying in various countries in Europe and the United States of America. Payment of their tuition fees has not been done because the management is unable to access funds. Another NDDC area the budget delay has impacted negatively on is the development of Niger Delta youths, who the NDDC has over time helped to remold and redirect away from violence and other criminal tendencies by engaging them in different vocational programs. The delay of the NDDC budget is also affecting the security of the region, which is one of the Commission's mandates.
Whoever that I call upon the authorities, the National Assembly, I use this medium to call upon the National Assembly to expedite action to see that the budget of NDDC is timelessly passed and the present year's budget should be released to it. Then subsequent years, a maximum of January, February, the budget should be on their table for them to execute the projects for which those funds are meant for.
Let the authority of the National Assembly know that the people are suffering because of delay in passing of this budget. They shouldn't rest on their oars at all.
Delay in the budget of the Niger Delta Development Commission has become the new norm in recent years and has often been caused by disagreements between the executive and legislative arms of government. It is crucial that both arms work together to improve the schedule of the Commission's budget process to facilitate speedy development of the well-endowed, predominantly oil and gas-bearing but highly beleaguered Niger Delta region of the country.
Valid suggestions and appeals there from that report. We think and hope some concerned persons have watched and will do the needful by ensuring that the NDDC's budgets are passed early from now on, so that the Commission can perform its statutory responsibilities of developing the Niger Delta. There is no doubt that one of the major challenges facing the people of the Niger Delta is a non-availability of land for development because of the swampy terrain of the area, which is made up of mostly water. It is therefore a thing of joy when the NDDC embarked on land reclamation and shoreline protection projects in a number of communities. The communities of Pereturugbene in Bayelsa and Ilushin in Edo State are two communities whose joy knows no bounds. Now here is our reports on these two significant projects.
Pereturugbene is one of the riverine communities in Ekeremo local government area of Bayelsa State and can only be accessed by boat from Ogbogbaigbene in Burutu local government area of Delta State. A 1-hour journey by boat from Ogbogbaigbene through creeks shows the difficulties the indigents, whose major occupation is fishing and farming, go through to make ends meet. Another major problem in these areas is the lack of land for development, as well as shoreline erosion. The scope of this project includes clearing of 61,300 meters along shoreline and reclaimed area, dredging and spreading of 154,000 meters river sand to the reclaimed area, and the construction of 397 meters of line drains. The work, which is progressing steadily, has brought hope to the people of Pereturugbene, who now look forward to having enough land for building houses, as well as attracting other developmental projects to their community. Speaking on the work done so far, the project manager, Engineer Terry Cooper, said the community had been very cooperative with them, and when the reclamation work is completed, it is expected that more land will be available to the indigents to build houses on reclaimed land instead of the usual practice of building along the shoreline. Appreciating the NDDC for the reclamation work, Chief Urume Okoyen lamented that the people of Pereturugbene had lacked adequate land for development for a long time, and that with this reclamation work going on as planned, they can now look forward to better days. The community of Ulushi in Esa South Local Government Area of Edo State has for years battled with shoreline erosion and struggled to build and keep any jetty and landing apron, as the River Niger that passes beside the community has continually washed away any jetty built, eroding their lands, houses, and destroying their meager infrastructure, including roads. Nddc, upon hearing the cries of the people of Ilushi community, has come to their rescue by building a modern landing jetty and constructing a shoreline protection wall to protect the community. The project scope includes site clearance, excavation of unsuitable soil, surface shaping, stone pitching, casting piles, borrow pit excavation, sclarification, filling beams, apron slabs, and tiers. With the construction of this jetty with shoreline protection, the people of the community of Ilushi, whose major occupation is farming and fishing, as well as visitors coming in through the River Niger, now have the opportunity of using the modern landing aprons without fear of being washed back into the river. Speaking on the project, the community leader, Chief Patrick Oke, who described Ilushi as a commercial community, said with the construction of the jetty with shoreline protection, it has now stabilized the coastline and makes it easier for boats to land, to berth with all their goods.
The landscape of the Niger Delta region is changing for the better through the efforts of the NDDC, as our next report will show the contribution of the Commission in providing modern hostels accommodation in most universities of the region in the recent past.
The Niger Delta makes up 23% of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, with a population of over 20 million people. 60% of Niger Delta are youth. About 2 million of the youth are students in tertiary institutions, spread across the 28 universities and 26 polytechnics in the Niger Delta. In this highly modernity-conscious region, education is an industry. People here feel utterly irrelevant without it. As a result, its higher institutions are packed full, year in, year out, with as many unadmitted as there are those admitted. Pressure on higher education facilities here are on the richer scales. Accommodation, the most visibly hit. This scene tells the typical story of a higher institution accommodation facility in the Niger Delta. Packed rooms, failed toilet facilities. A claustrophobic nightmare. A breeding ground for all sorts of deviant and immoral behavior.
This place is always noisy. You can't focus in this particular room because of number of population. Moreover, we are 12 in this room.
We are 8 in this room. 8 in this room, and that's 4 outside here and 4 inside. And as you can see, this is how we manage ourselves, despite the fact that this is a federal university.
The National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, says over 75% of students in higher institutions are forced by those conditions to live outside campus. That's those who can afford it. However, living outside the security of the university has often been a tale of woe for many, particularly female students, many of whom have been gang raped, molested and abused. The trauma goes on unabated. Enter the NDDC. The NDDC cannot draw up curricula or even enforce academic discipline, but it can intervene in this area of infrastructure, in keeping with the mandate to develop the Niger Delta, harness and nurture its human resources. The NDDC thus decided to act, proposing across the Niger Delta 19 prototype hostels, while at the same time setting a standard for future accommodation projects. In 2004, the NDDC awarded contracts for the construction of the 19 prototype hostel projects in 17 universities across the 9 states of the Niger Delta. In July 2013, the NDDC prototype hostel project at the Imo State University of Owerri became the first to be completed and commissioned. It all emerged at a colorful ceremony. The project was the first hostel for students on the university campus. The mega hostel projects have 176 rooms with the capacity of over 500 bed spaces, including 48 bed spaces for physically challenged students. The hostels each come with standard electrical fittings, wardrobes, fans, air conditioners, 36 bathrooms and toilets, an administrative block with offices, stores, supermarkets, cyber cafe, as well as games room and student common room. On the project's bill is also a waterworks with a 20,000-liter overhead tank, a surface tank and a water treatment plant. In December 2013, the NDDC prioritized the completion of ongoing projects. The fast-track projects received the necessary attention in terms of funding and supervision. This led to the completion and commissioning within weeks of the hostel project at the Federal University of Technology Obinze Owerri early in February 2014. In the following month, March 2014, the NDDC was at the University of Benin for the commissioning and handover of the University of Benin hostel complex. The NDDC was not done yet with hostel commissioning for that year, as in November, the completed Delta State University Abraka hostel project was commissioned and handed over to the institution, making it the fourth of the fast-track projects. In July 2015, the prototype hostel at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, Akwa Ibom State, and the Michael Okpara University, Umudike in Abia State were commissioned and promptly handed over to the universities. In spite of some setbacks, life has just taken a new turn in the universities in the Niger Delta.
It's a very beautiful place, actually. I mean, the first day I stepped in here, I was like, wow, is this really our hostel?
I'm so happy to be here because it's specially made for me. I came in here and I made the bed, the wardrobe, the reading table, and also the toilets.
In this hostel, we also have the supermarket where students can come and get their stuffs, the bread, the provisions, soaps, snacks, and all that. So in this hostel, students are really happy here. Thank Nddc.
The 36-year-old River State University of Science and Technology, UST, as it is popularly called, is the first technological university to be situated within the Niger Delta region and is one of the beneficiaries of the over 500-bed modern hostel built and delivered by the Niger Delta Development Commission. This magnificent edifice is divided into 3 floors, with all rooms furnished with beds, mattresses, pillows, ceiling fans, electrical fittings, wardrobes, reading tables and chairs. 2 rooms share a bathroom and toilet facility, while rooms for disabled students are all en suite. All a student needs is to just move in with clothing and books, as everything else is made available by the Nddc. This gesture has greatly enhanced the standard of living for the students of the university. The hostel has 2 common rooms, including other state-of-the-art facilities such as a beautiful internal courtyard for relaxation and a 24-hour security service. The situation is the same in other tertiary institutions across the Niger Delta, where the prototype hostels are being commissioned. Some have other aesthetics like a bookshop, a photo studio, games rooms, barbing salon, and a beauty parlor, amongst others. Here at the Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Umudike in Abia State, the same superstructure is replicated with all the facilities and furnishings. The students just move in with their clothes and books. According to students and school authorities at the University of Uyo Teaching Hospital, the Nddc hostel meets up the present and future needs of the medical students. Indeed, for them, it's a timely intervention.
Seriously, it's something the Nigerian government has really done to make sure that medical program and the University of Uyo medical students are quite comfortable, and for that, I and all other medical students are most grateful.
One can therefore understand the joy of the university community for the great relief which these hostels have brought to the students and their parents.
There is no doubt that the Nddc have been very active over the years. We hope you enjoyed today's package of the program. Please do keep a date with us next week. From the Nddc Today crew and the beautiful people of Niger Delta, from me, it's good night.